Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 9to5 Fitness Podcast. We've got a pretty big one today, a bit more of a serious one, but Gab, how are you?
I'm very well, mate. I'm excited for this podcast. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm going all right. How'd you sleep?
How did I sleep? Yeah, just a standard 8 hours. Nothing else to report on. What about yourself?
Yeah, about the same, really. I think I got 9, to be honest, so I had a thick sleep, but not so much deep sleep.
Definitely on the up for you, which is good to hear.
Yeah, we like that. Much happened during the week?
Not really. Just meal plan maintenance and things like that, you know. So, yeah. But anyway, this, as you said, is a little bit more of a serious topic. It's something that we feel we've got big responsibility to kind of address and help impact in a positive way. We made a post on this a few weeks ago. You guys definitely received it well, and I think it's definitely in the right direction. It's about the current climate on like female safety, walking home at night, just the kind of masculine culture that's, I don't know, quite threatening, like in a lot of ways towards. Yeah.
I think if you're going to listen to one podcast or watch one podcast, make it this one, because we've got a really really experienced guest coming on, which is really good, because it's so much coming from, two guys, but hearing it firsthand is going to be interesting.
And we're really big on this point that, from us blokes, it's important that we don't stay silent about this issue, but at the same time, like we're doing the best that we can to provide the right information, but we are just blokes. Like, we don't have all the answers, so we are doing our best. So I think it's really key for us to kind of get some good insights from as we have we've got Jack River coming on the show today. So she'll have some really, really good insights for us, hopefully. And we'll definitely make use of them to communicate to our male audience what we can do better.
Yeah, for sure. I think we got a really good response to that post, and that's like not why we put it up, but in terms of, we got a good response in terms of it was almost emotional seeing how many girls are responding to it, saying like, oh, thanks so much for this. Like, it clearly means a lot when guys stand out, and that just goes to show how much silence there has been. Yeah,
just that post really stood out to them, and it was like a really like important moment for them, and it's that like it's almost shocking to us that like. Yeah, obviously didn't do it for the likes or like anything like that, but there just needs to be more from us guys in terms of posting on social media, because I get it, like you kind of question, I'm not really part of the issue, so I don't have to post about it because I'm not going around doing these heinous acts or anything like that. That's not the point. Like, the point is that it's the awareness that's important. We need to make everyone aware. We need to be calling this stuff out. We need to make it so socially unacceptable. You just need to be part of the solution, essentially. And that's definitely what we feel. We have a very, we do have a lot of females in the audience. I think it's like a 70-30 split around there.
Roundabout.
So we do feel as like we have a big responsibility to talk to males about it, because
I think, the main portion of our followers are kind of younger men. And as we spoke about kind of in that post, like when we were younger, we didn't have an idea of any of this. Like we didn't know what was right and what was wrong. So I suppose with our reach and the reach we can have, we wanted to kind of educate younger men on it a little bit more and more than what we were.
And also just us maturing and learning things. Obviously, when we were in high school and kids, we weren't perfect either. There definitely would have been jokes that we regret making 100%. To this day. Like, we 100% weren't perfect, but it's not really an excuse to say we didn't know any better. But I definitely feel as though we can be that figure for a lot of these younger males. Like, look, it's actually not on, because cracking jokes at the expense of women actually creates this culture where, it might mislead some males into thinking those jokes that you speak about are, socially acceptable, because, you might clearly think that, hey, like, I'm joking about this, I'm never going to do it, which of course, but you don't know how some people's brains are wired, and under the influence of alcohol and other substances and things like that, there is a link there.
Yeah. So we're going to get into a few things with Holly, otherwise known as Jack River. So one of them is why it's our responsibility. And if you have a sister, a girlfriend, a friend that's a female, there's enough reason. But if
that shouldn't be the only reason.
If you can't find enough reason, then we'll get into it a bit more. And then also why it's so important for us to speak up. Because the silence has been pretty deafening.
Even like our own Prime Minister's response, like, oh, I thought about it through the eyes of my daughter or something. It's like, mate, you shouldn't have to think about
the fact
a heinous act through the eyes of your daughter. Like, it should just be apparent. So it's kind of unbelievable, and I feel like we need to step up, kind of thing.
So we're about a month on from like when it kind of blew up, and like that. This is. We wanted to leave it a little bit before because we want to kind of bring it back into people's like front of mind.
Exactly.
So like this podcast will be out hopefully this weekend.
Yep.
Anyway, that's specifics. But yeah, we want to like bring up that conversation. Keep it. We didn't just make that post to get a few likes and make a few people.
We feel like we can do more.
Exactly.
And
right.
like. So a little bit about Jack River. So she's a fantastic artist. She's pretty big in the indie scene. I've got a bunch of her songs in my Australian indie playlist. I've got, our favorite DMAs and stuff in there along with Jack River. So it's definitely some good tunes there. I'm actually just going to bring up Spotify, 3 of my favorite tunes. So we've got Fool's Gold. I mean,
classic.
It's a staple. You've got to have that in your playlist.
Yeah.
Fault Line.
Yeah, another banger.
I've got limo songs. So I've only got 3. I'm not like this huge fan, but I like her music.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we saw her at Falls Festival.
We did. Yeah.
What year was that? 2019?
No, 2018.
2018.
Summer 2018.
Yeah.
So like that was December 2018. So yeah, that was good. There was quite an iconic moment when she's quite an activist for environmental consciousnness. So I'm pretty sure there was a symbolic moment where everyone was like pushing the rubbish.
Well, she asked if everyone could pick up a piece of rubbish and pass it to the person in front of them, and then she had bags organised at the front of the stage where everyone would put the rubbish in. But that turned into people actually throwing cans.
So it didn't exactly go to plan, but
kids were ducking.
The intention was there. So the intention
was there.
Hopefully no one was hurt.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's a great artist, and we believe she's got a second album on the way. She's very always recording.
She's been so good to us as well. Like she's fit us in right between like a recording session or something. So we'll speak to her a little bit about that. But overall, I'm bloody excited.
Yeah, me too. Anyway, let's cut to Jack River.
And we are live. Holly, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate this. This is our biggest guest.
100% our biggest guest. We're excited, guys.
Even a little bit nervous, but we're going to get to it. We really appreciate you. You're gearing up for a big show tomorrow. That's at the Sydney Opera House?
Yes, it's at the Sydney Opera House tomorrow night. So yeah, doing the day before nervousness thing right now.
Yeah. What is that like? Do you do you vomit? Is that do you get serious butterflies? I can't imagine what it would be like.
I don't vomit. I guess you just get like a week of lead up nightmares and I don't know. I got caught in a nice Uber chat this morning, and the Uber driver was like, "You just got to channel all your nervous energy into like excited, good energy." And I was like, "That's real cute." So I think it's just like, you just got to channel the nervousness into a different space constantly, so you don't get stuck and go hide away in a hole.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm doing now.
Yeah. Well, you're doing well, Louis. I think, but yeah, both of you are doing great. I'm sure the Sydney Opera House show will do really well. Now, when was the first time you saw Jack River live, mate? Yeah,
so I'd been listening to her music for a very long time before I saw Jack live, but it was definitely Falls 2018.
Yeah, we were both there.
And it was hectic, and it was a show to remember.
It was pretty iconic.
But there was bottle throwing. There was in a good way.
Well, no. Let's explain it. Don't just bluntly say there was bottle throwing. Like, what was the kind of symbolic objective behind it?
Well, we were trying to clean up the parklands, and the thing was to push the bottles forward. So pass the bottle to the person in front of you. But that turned into people just hurling bottles to the front of stage.
Holly, can we get a confirmation that was the intention behind it?
I guess I didn't think it through too much. I thought people would just slowly pass rubbish forward, but it ended up being like a Lisa Mitchell coin laundry situation where they just pegged rubbish at me, and it was funny and scary at the same time.
Yeah, take cover. It wasn't ideal, but it was funny to watch. Yeah. We were sitting up on the hill.
We were well clear of the splash zone.
People just want to watch the world burn.
All that matters is the hill was clean when it was done, so we're good.
Yeah, 100%.
That's the main.
Checked over it.
So we understand you're working on a new album at the moment.
Yes, I'm slowly chipping away at a new album. We just like I kind of took last year as it was, and like it's kind of hard to release music when you can't tour it. There's no real fun in that for me anyway. So I've been taking my time to make a new album, and picked up some like study along the way and just filling in the time and doing what I can. Yeah.
That's awesome. How far off would that be from releasing like a rough, or if you're able to say that at all?
It'll definitely be next year, but I hope to get something out like in the next few months if I can convince everyone.
Yeah. Oh, that's so exciting. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, I follow like a lot of, I like a lot of rappers and things like that, and they've just gone into like hibernation mode. A lot of them, you know, they're in lockdown and they're just recording songs after songs after songs. Have you found that at all? Or as you said, it's hard to promote music without touring and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, the time has been obviously it's so different for everyone. Yeah. I found all of the like social events of last year and obviously COVID, but you know, all of the kind of cultural and social movements last year, it put me into a bit of a frozen space. Yeah. Like I was like, what can I do as a singer? And so I got a lot of, it wasn't like anxiety, just a frozen feeling like, I don't know if I can write songs to match the times. And that was my, take on it. But now that the world's like coming back to life a little bit, I feel much more kind of in flow of writing, but it's just like something that you've got to roll with. Some people turn up and do it 9 to 5, but I'm more of a like sense what I want to write and do it or not do it kind of thing.
Yeah, it's got to feel right, and you don't want it to feel like a chore kind of thing. Otherwise, it's not really you. Is that,
Yeah, I don't like to force it because I think, it's a really special, sacred kind of outlet for me. Mm-hmm. So I just do it when I really want to. And if I'm not feeling it, I'll go do something else. And I'm luckily interested in lots of other stuff, so I don't get bored.
And I suppose that's why it resonates so well with people, which is, of course, important. We like to do the same thing with our content. We never like for it to be forced. Otherwise, then you stop enjoying it and it's just not fun for anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
So the reason, we do have a pretty important chat that we wanted to have today, and we are just two blokes who are trying to positively impact the current situation with females feeling unsafe and the current culture we have with males, and we are doing our best to improve. But at the end of the day, we don't have all of the insights available. Yeah. We just know what we think is right and what we've heard from other females in our lives and things like that. So we really wanted to get as someone who's very apparent with writing music, and you're an activist for the environment and things like that. We thought you'd have some really key insights on this topic and things that we as males can do and us as male influencers can do to help impact the situation. Yeah. So as we all know, if you haven't seen it on social media, you must not be actually.
Yeah, you'd be living under a rock. But I suppose our big thing to convey was kind of why it's all of our responsibility. You know, why do young men need to be posting stuff on social media and calling it out from such a young age, especially?
Yeah, gosh. So
it's a pretty loaded question. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I mean, they're all really big questions, but I think at the end of the day, the answers are quite simple. And I think a lot of men and women know the answer to these questions. It's a new space for us, not new, but it's uncommon for us to be talking so personally about public things, and especially so hard for, say, sexual assault survivors to be bringing these stories out into the public. Yeah. So I guess we are going to talk in our conversation right now about women and men generally, which I'll preface my comments with, but I guess women and sexual assault survivors and survivors of any kind, they're brave, but they're tired, and it's not their job to carry our nation forward. And I think that it's really awesome, and it feels great to pin our hopes on these individuals that are coming out so bravely to lead this movement. But really, it's about, women and men, but men especially taking on that burden that they know is in our culture, you know, our everyday
totally.
Social culture, our political culture, workplace culture. Like, it's not a secret that like a lot of places of power are dominated by men, and you know, like men and women, we segregate. Like, you guys, you know, like you guys kind of boss like gym kind of rugby kind of areas and we kind of boss like, you know, other areas, and that's just like the generalized trend. And I'm kind of rambling, but I think like we know what's right and wrong, and now it's just an ample time for us to actually like have a little bit of guts to speak up to our friends or, you know, co-workers or whatever, or just be brave on social media and call it out and be a part of the conversation, because like women are tired. It's all of our responsibilities, but it really is on men to step up now.
Yeah, I just, even anecdotally scrolling through social media, you two may have been the same, but you see the stories shared and things like that. Just about every female that I follow was sharing something, but very, very rarely did you see a male. I mean, I could literally count on my hand the amount of males I saw post something, which is why we thought we've got a lot of males that follow us that we can influence, and we need to get more of them posting about this, because it's just not good enough. We're the perpetrators, whether you're part of the issue, whether like obviously a good majority, like a lot, aren't committing these heinous acts, but like you need to just make it so socially unacceptable and so at the forefront of people's minds that just eliminated from the very briefest inkling of behavior, whether it's a joke or something like that. Just call it out early, like everyone needs to know, kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And I suppose that kind of leads us on to like the next thing of the not all men argument, and it's not an argument at all, and it's clearly been debunked. But trying to explain that to a 16-year-old kid who, like, they're hard to get through to at the best of times. But the kind of the not all men argument, do you think it's flawed?
Do I think it's flawed? Yeah, I think it's flawed. Like, you know, there's so much going on about this at the moment. But I guess it's just like, what do you want women to do if the stats and the members of, like, the amount of men in parliament, the amount of men at the head of boards, the amount of men in powerful positions, it is like clearly a majority, and that is reflected in other spaces of our culture. So do you want like women to take more time of their day to single out the good and the bad? Like, it's just kind of not logistically available to us. And like, I think, again, it's simple. Like, of course it's not all men, you know, of course we value and cherish our, you know, beautiful male friends and partners and colleagues, but it's like, you know, again, we are like quite segregated as sexes, and men do spend like the majority of time with their own sex, right? So there is an inherent like whether you're probably a really good guy, but you've inherently been around men that have displayed this behavior that's unacceptable. And did you call it out? Did you not? It probably felt uncomfortable at the time. You might not have done it. I've certainly been around behavior that I haven't called out, but I think now it's like this powerful cultural moment where we can just let that guilt and discomfort like slip aside and just do the job. Like, just call it out and like get over yourself.
Those are some points that like I definitely didn't consider about the logistically. You know, of course there are plenty of good guys, but we can't filter through every single one. And the other point that like
I suppose it's like the kind of like the not all men thing is, it is all men because we've all been around someone who has said something, you know, that's wrong, and it's often someone who's close to you, like whether it's a grandpa or like someone that's difficult to pull up on, but you are part of the issue if you just let it slide, aren't you?
Yeah, and that thing about getting over yourself, like I think this is what we mentioned in the post as well. Recognize that you probably were wrong in the past. Like 16-year-old Gavin Lewis or 14-year-old Gavin Lewis, we probably made jokes that we weren't proud of. And like you need to recognize that you were wrong in the past, and from here forward, you're going to call that stuff out, not kind of instigate it yourself to start with. And
100%.
just recognizing that you're wrong, as you say, get over yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, all of us have been around those jokes, and it's so like I've done that, like as a woman, every woman has a story like this, a million of them, but like you'll walk past the pub and a dude in the pub will be like, oh, smile, love, you know? It's only recently that I've been like, hey, wait a second, like I can't be fucked to keep walking anymore. So I went back and I just said, hey, like, would you say that to a male walking past? And he was just like flabbergasted.
Really?
And that felt really, it was just like, you know, because we don't do that in our culture. We don't like turn around and go like, hey, did you really mean that? But it feels good to change it up and like just step out of the comfort zone and, you know, like that guy might remember it forever. He might have forgotten it. I don't know, but he tried.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I suppose that kind of leads us on to the next one, which is just like how men can help. And like we've stated some really clear things, I think, but
we don't have all the answers. We're just trying to do our best, but obviously, as you say, we do have that bias. We spend most of our time around males, so we're just going off of what we think would be best. And so we are trying to do it, but we basically just need some more insights in what we can communicate to our male followers of what we can do better.
So what do you think we can do? Yeah.
Well, I think like it's so great what you're already doing and talking about it and stepping out of your comfort zone to ask questions. That's how women step out of their comfort zones every day when that behavior is dealt to them. So it's just like asking if we can share the discomfort right now and have men step up in little ways and big ways, whether it's, you know, at your gym or at your, you know, footy club or whatever it is, like just having to think like, is this place safe for women? Are they included and respected? Like, could there be more space on the board for a woman? Have we asked a woman her perspective on this, you know? And then I think it's just the really simple, like, again, it's just in our guts. Like you'll hear something being said and your gut says, oh, that's wrong, like and it's like actually taking that millisecond to say like, are you right, like, are you serious? You know, just
calling it out, make them uncomfortable.
And it's, you know, a lot of boys, like my partner's a real bloke's bloke, and half the things that I've talked to him about, he never knew that they made, like not him and I, but like just behavior from other men. He never really knew that behavior made me feel uncomfortable. So it is talking to your partner or your female friends and being like, what are those things that make you feel genuinely uncomfortable? And so there's a little list.
Yeah, absolutely.
So really just trying to understand things from the other side, things again that you've been influenced with your socialization of your own male bias about things that you can kind of consider from the other side.
Absolutely. Like, I think, you know, you guys have had the upper hand, so to say, in our cultural experience, and women are, like, by nature, I think we've been quiet and also made to be quiet. Like, we won't go into like women's political and social history, but like so I think we're just going through a huge shift where we're equalizing our voices and our right to create our culture together. And it's like, you're going to miss out if you're ignoring that. So I think the other thing that I always think of is like a woman's perspective and brain is so different to a male's. And like, I don't know, I'm like, you know, what would happen if women were in power when we were building stadiums? Like, would they be for football or something else? Like, it's a whole, or pubs and clubs. Like, what will the world look like now that women have a seat at the table? Like, it's a whole other world. Anyway, some big thoughts.
Well, I don't think we don't want to hold you for too much longer. We know you are in a bit of a rush, and you've fitted us in, which we really appreciate. So thank you so much for your time, Holly. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. I'm sure our listeners will really appreciate this chat that we've had about a very important topic. Holly, do you have anything else to add?
No, just thanks. Thank you so much for having the conversation and inviting different perspectives on. And look forward to hearing what you guys do next. It's really important work. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
So there you go. That was big. It's pretty amazing we managed to get Holly on the podcast, and we really appreciate her time. We know she was in a bit of a rush. What'd you take out of it? What do you think?
Yeah, I think, well, number one, we were both pretty nervous going into it. Definitely the biggest guest so far. Probably came across quite a bit on that podcast, but hopefully we get better at it from now on.
It's, difficult through Zoom as well. Like, you know what to manage.
Anyway, less about us. It was definitely an important chat to have. And look, a podcast and a social media post isn't going to solve it. It's simply, it's a tiny little drop in the problem. But hopefully we can start to begin some sort of shift in a different mentality towards this, and just making people aware. So we're going to continue to work on this issue to see what we can do.
It's going to be something we keep bringing up.
If you guys have any suggestions, particularly from the girls, for things, how we can support you in this, then please let us know. We'd love to be of more support.
Absolutely. I thought it was interesting. Well, I mean, we talked about like how men can help, how we can deal with the issue, or I mean, and one of those is calling it out. Mm-hmm. So calling your mates out. I think a great way to do that, if you don't want to just straight up say to someone, mate, that's not on, just like ask the question. So when they make the joke, say, oh, like, hang on, I don't get it. One of our mates is really good at that, Jesse. He's unbelievable at doing that. And I don't mean to bring him up in the podcast, but he will ask a question like, oh, sorry, what do you mean by that? And then they have to sit down and actually explain. Justify and explain it. And then then
they're uncomfortable. So
normally they're not going to follow up. Yeah. So like if you make that pretty clear, that's like one method of going about it. Just ask the question.
Definitely. I also thought it was really interesting, like the socialization of us as males. We spend all our time around males. We don't consider the female perspective, which is really, I didn't even consider that, to be honest. That there is a completely different perspective, and a lot of the time we're not even considering it. So
totally.
Just ask females what their idea, what their perspective is on things. I think that was really a key takeaway from the podcast.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like the why it's not all men argument, it's pretty clear. Yeah. Like you don't have to be the person who's attacking women. Of course it's not
all men, but we can't filter out.
But most of us are around someone who is making a joke, or that you are the person who's making the joke.
Exactly.
So it's pretty clear. And to be honest, if you're coming at us with that argument, then like
there's a good chance you're part of the problem.
You are part of the problem if you're arguing that.
Honestly.
But do you have anything else to follow up on?
I think if we say anything else, we'll just be repeating what's already in there. Yeah. We want to keep it, sharp and impactful.
Concise, yeah.
Yep, it's all in there. But very powerful podcast, and very happy with it. Hopefully we can get some more guests of that caliber on the 9to5 Fitness podcast.
Yeah, for sure. And we want to keep bringing up these topics, and it's something we're going to keep bringing up. So if anyone wants to come onto the podcast or has an experience they want to talk about, then we'd be more than happy to put you on the podcast and we can have a chat.
Yeah, wonderful.
Brilliant. Good stuff. Thank you guys so much for listening. Cheers.